The Axis car sales problem. Carlos Huygens is the sales manager for Axis Auto Sales, a low-cost regional chain of used car lots. Carlos is getting ready for his annual sales meeting, and he's looking for the best way to improve his sales group's performance. His data includes the gender, years of experience, sales training, and hours worked per week. It also includes the average car sold per month by each salesperson. I have a number of questions I'm going to need to find here. Let me go ahead and start making pivot tables in order to answer them all. The first question is average cars sold per month. So we're going to go to data, pivot table, and cars sold, average. The average of cars sold across all of our salespeople is 3.9. And that's question A. The next question is max cars sold per month. And so I'm going to do basically the same thing. Move cars sold down here, go to max, and click OK. So the max cars sold by one of our salespeople in a month is 7. That's question B. Go back here, do it again. And the next question is the minimum cars sold per month. It's basically the same thing. Again, we're pulling cars sold down into the value, changing the summary operation to min. And the minimum cars sold by a salesperson in a month is 1. And that's question C. The next question is the average cars sold per month by gender. So I want to take my cars sold per month, get the average, which we figured out before, but now I want to break it down by gender. So let me take gender and pull it to either the row labels or the column labels. And now I know men are selling slightly more than women per month. Men are selling 4 cars per month, and women are selling on average 3.7 cars per month. And that's question D. Average cars. The next question is average hours worked by people selling greater than 3 cars per month. Okay. So we want hours worked as our value. And we want it to be the average. But we want to look at cars sold, and we want it to be limited to only the people who sold more than 3 cars per month, which is 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if I wanted the average for each of these individually, I would look here. But since I want the average for all of them, I look here under grand total. So the average hours worked by people selling greater than 3 cars per month is 34.7 hours per month. And as you can see, the hours more or less go up by the number of cars you sell per month. And that's question E. Okay. The reason I have to keep removing these fields is because I saved it with having already done a pivot table, and it saved those settings, and it's putting them back every time I start a new one. Average years of experience. So I would go to years of experience, pull it down here, switch my operation to average. Average years of experience for my salespeople is 3, or for Carlos's salespeople is 3. That's question F. Question G is average years of experience for people selling greater than 3 cars per month. So it's kind of like what we did with the hours worked. So average years of experience, or change it to average, and we'll take cars sold per month here and filter it so it's only for the people selling more than 3 cars per month. And then we have 3.05 is basically the average years of experience for people selling more than 3 cars per month. That's question G. Question H is average cars sold per month by whether or not they had sales training. This is one people had a little bit of trouble with, but let's break it down. So we want the average cars sold per month. So we want cars sold, average, and then we want sales training. So basically what we have is the overall average is 3.9. If you had sales training, your average is 4.1. If you had no sales training, then your average is 3.57. So clearly sales training increases the number of sales you had per month. So we'll make that question H. And the final question was I. What do you think is the best indicator of whether or not someone is a good salesperson? Now, if the measure of a good salesperson is the average cars sold per month, let's take another pivot table and let's look at all the things that we have. So we have cars sold per month. We want to get the average. 3.9. Years of experience. There really isn't a terribly good relationship with years of experience. Sales training. Sales training clearly has some effect. Hours worked. Clearly, the more hours worked, the more cars you sell. Gender. So gender seems to have a role. So if we look at gender, you're going to sell 0.3 more of a car due to gender. So gender is good for plus 0.3. And hours worked can make the difference between 3.2 and 4.6. So hours worked is good for positive 1.4. And the final one was sales training. Sales training is good for about a 0.5. So sales training is good for positive 0.5. So while gender has some effect, seemingly, on the average of cars sold, if you have someone who's been given sales training and they work a good amount of hours, that seems to have the greatest effect on whether or not someone, the hours worked has the most effect, followed by sales training, and finally we look at gender.